There's no better way to program your subconscious mind than listening to positive statements over and over. And there's no better way to do that than in a semi-meditative alpha brainwave state. I've created 3 prosperity meditations on hightimelinebooks.com to help you do just that. And for a limited time, you can get all 3 for the price of 2. So take your life to a higher vibe. Check them all out at hightimelinebooks.com. Happy Tuesday to you. Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thank you for jumping in here for just a couple of minutes to set up the energy du jour of our day. And we have a really good one today that we're going to be focusing on the positive side of a challenging aspect. There's one thing in the sky happening today, and it already has. The moon entered Libra this morning at 12:30 Eastern Time, so we have the next 2 full days and half of Thursday to enjoy some nice balanced energy. Can I hear an amen? There is one aspect tomorrow night. It happens at 6:15 p.m. Eastern tomorrow evening. Mercury will be across the chart in opposition to its higher octave Uranus, which is in retrograde. If you feel some challenge around your thoughts, this too shall pass. Watch for verbal surprises. We're in the energy now. It will tail off into the weekend, but just be aware that there could be a little bit of mental game challenges around that aspect, and a couple of surprises too. Tomorrow, we're going to take a peek into Ray Merriman's 2025 forecast book with a little excerpt that I'd like to play for you. Some of the things that are going to be setting the stage for unpacking in this year's forecast book, which is going to absolutely be worth it, because here we are at the door of what he calls the new era, AIRA, air signs, and the Aries vortex. So we'll take a look at that tomorrow. That's why I wanted to mention this Mercury aspect today. Plus, you can be aware and conscious of it when it's strongest today and tomorrow. Now, the other thing I wanted to hit, it happens on Sunday, early Sunday morning, 6:37 Eastern Time. Mars will be opposite Pluto. I went into more detail on the aspect itself on the weekly video, particularly from some of the shadow possibilities. We can touch on that again on Thursday, but the thing I wanted to mention today is, aren't we just ready to stay on the positive sides of things? We all know what's ahead of us a week from today. For many, there's a lot of angst around it. We look ahead and we see Mars, the planet of war, aggression, conflict, etc., is opposite Pluto of transformation, death, rebirth, nuclear, etc. How do we frame all this positively? Well, what you have here are the 2 rulers of the sign of Scorpio in an aspect. So even though neither of the 2 rulers are in Scorpio, it brings Scorpio right into this whole picture. Mars is in Cancer. Pluto is opposite at the very tail end of Capricorn. You can start to even paint a picture from that right there, because the tail end of Capricorn means that the first part of Aquarius is next. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, which is in this Mercury aspect tomorrow. Revolutionary, changes, out with that which doesn't serve. Tired of the old and stodgy. I mean, think back to when this happened last. It was the late 1770s. The 2 big revolutionary wars happened under what's happening right now. Massive changes in Europe, England, the very newly formed United States, and in France, all under this energy. What is the mantra of Pluto? Death and rebirth. Caterpillar to butterfly. Every time this happened, what came after it was far better than what was old and stodgy and worn out. Scorpio, the sign of transformation. Robert said that Linda Goodman, whenever Scorpio was mentioned, she would say 3 words: sex, death, and religion. Not necessarily in that order. But look around. Are those areas changing right before our eyes? Take a peek over into Aquarius. What do you see as far as new technologies coming on the scene? We are in for some amazing fundamental changes. And we humans don't like change. We get scared of it. But if we trust the process and we realize that we chose on a soul level And remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The soul comes first. We chose to be a part of all of this. So this big aspect on Sunday that we're feeling right now, Mars across from Pluto, is for the collective. Why do I say that? Because that's where the shakeup has to occur. From the late 90s into the first decade of the 2000s, Saturn and Pluto were crossing over a lot of my stacked up planets. At the end of that, I went through a second divorce. I never expected to be divorced once. There were alienations and all kinds of things that rippled down from that. And, being a Scorpio, Phoenix rising from the ashes, I sat down for a year and unpacked my life. It's all in the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast. The episode of that specifically, I think, is number 20 or 21, The Year in the RV. Figured out what was wrong with me that these people didn't want to be around and started working there. And that's where the transformation began. The little caterpillar spun a cocoon and started doing transformational work and emerged a different creature. Ask that caterpillar today if it would trade any of the things that it had to go through in order to be where it is today. No way. Wish it would have been easier, but it was what it was. Was the caterpillar afraid? No, just went through it. Totally without astrology, too, by the way. Hadn't found it yet. So we have the path. We know what's coming. And we're going to have to watch some of these collective events unfold. And that's all part of the transformation. But every day, we should be practicing what we need to do in order to be there with the help and the guidance and the spiritual direction that these souls are going to need through this transformational process. So for us, we can look at such an aspect as this, not with fear, with anticipation. For a lot of us, I think our soul, listen to this now, I think our soul purpose, our soul work for being here in this body at this age, at this time, is going to come from this transformation, represented by Sunday's aspect. Think about that. We don't see it yet. This is the new era, A-I-R-A, we're going to hear Ray talk about tomorrow. It's the new, it's the Aquarius, it's the revolutionary, and it is going to be such a soul purpose for so many of us, as that's how we will leave our mark on our time here on the planet. I truly hope that encourages you. Thank you so much for listening today. Let's just walk right into this with eyes and hearts wide open, joining the prophet of old, saying, "Here am I, Lord, send me. How can I be of service?" We'll be back tomorrow with this glimpse into the new era through Ray Merriman's eyes. I love you. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful Tuesday.